Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with the weekly comic book roundup. We covered this week's X-Men books as well as this week's miscellaneous Marvel books, and now it's time to continue on the Marvel train, mostly. Kicking things off with Black Cat Infinity Score, giant size one shot. This is the conclusion to the Infinity Score story that was running in the sadly short-lived Black Cat series, penned by Jed MacKay. What had happened previously? Well, the Black Cat, Felicia Hardy, was gathering the various people who had the various hosts of the Infinity Stones. Star, Overtime, I believe it was, and Quantum. Supposedly at the behest of Doctor Doom. Basically, Doctor Doom hires if I remember what she told everyone was that she'd been hired well, she didn't directly say Doctor Doom, but she made enough hints to suggest Doom to basically get some of the Infinity Gem bearers to close enough so that Star's ability could be amped up, and Monica Rappaccini, on and off scientist supreme of AIM, could then be healed of her cancer. So, however, there are people trying to retrieve the bearers of the stones, namely Nick Fury and Nighthawk. Both for different reasons, though. So, we begin. Star and Black Cat enter the hospital. Scrubs, lab coats, looking like doctors. It cuts back to the planning session where Star is being told to plan, and she explains, getting in and out of the hospital is the easy part. The miracle is the real trick. But she's got Overtime and Quantum in place. So they're all, you have 3 floors, Overtime's on one, Star's on the other, and below Star is Quantum. So she goes into Monica Rappaccini's room, and Star realizes how powerful she truly is right now. But she does a job, claps her hands and says, "Heal." But, of course, realizes how powerful she is in the proximity of 2 additional two additional Infinity Stones. Well, Star was kind of thinking maybe she should just gather them all, because that always goes well, right? I mean, no one has ever done anything crazy when they had all 6 Infinity Stones. I mean, like, no one ever snapped their fingers and wiped out half of all sentient life. No one ever did that this week. But turns out, because of course she did, Felicia did at least somewhat play Star. It wasn't Monica Rappaccini that was dying of cancer. It was Felicia's mom. Felicia has a brief vision of herself in the vaults of the and sees the gray fox crying gold coins. Flashback to 2 months ago when she, after she saved the city, gets a call from her mom. A month later, she tries to get Odessa Drake to help her. The 2 months ago flashback is after the events, after Felicia saved the city from White Fox's plan, or Black Fox's plan to, for get himself and Felicia eternal life. And but a month after that, she goes to Odessa Drake to ask her to help, explaining this is what's going on, and Odessa, says she can't help her. There's nothing she can do. It's suggested by they can make her part of the guild. Induct her, make her part of the guild council. That way she gets some eternal life, but it doesn't work that way. So yeah, but. Upon being betrayed, Star shoots Black Cat out of the hospital room, only to find herself surrounded by a bunch of doctors with various automatic weapons. Interesting charity, then. Not as well known as Doctors Without Borders. Of course, it turns out that these doctors are not actually doctors. They're not SHIELD agents. SHIELD is non-existent at the moment. So, but either way, they're under the command of Nick Fury. But Felicia does what she can to escape. Star tries to escape as well, but turns out Nighthawk's there too. We see Quantum, Star, and Overtime all trying to escape. Nighthawk is, of course, once again trying to get the stones, but let's just say that seeing Nighthawk kind of makes Black Cat less of a priority to Star. But Felicia gets arrested, and of course the hosts for the gems are being are still being tracked by Nick Fury. There's also been mentioned the tracker that was being used was destroyed, so that in the hopes that it can't be replicated. But a week later, Felicia's in the raft, being visited by her mother, who is cancer-free. She's not happy about all this, about visiting her daughter in jail, but she says that, anything she'll, maybe she'll get one of those Thunderbolts pardons, And their mother-daughter session is cut short by the arrival of Felicia's lawyers. It's her boys, and if they got a plan, and that is where the issue ends. It's bittersweet, I really liked. Jed MacKay's so far 2 runs on Black Cat have been so much fun. And I wish that the sales would, allow him to keep writing her, because it's always fun to watch him, to read Black Cat by him. But anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Amazing Spider-Man number 80.BEY. Much like number 78.BEY, this is kind of spinning off of a plot point from Beyond. So something I neglected to mention when going over Amazing Spider-Man number 80. The issue ended with a interlude where Aunt May goes to meet with someone who might be able to help Peter. That someone is her ex-fiancé, Dr. Otto Octavius, who agrees to help. Yeah, they were engaged, but it's largely narrated by May, but they explore the site of where Peter was injured. Some odd readings on a scanner that of Otto's design. Otto checks things at one of his safe houses, which he brings May to, and explains he has to get his work clothes ready. Doc Ock stuff. But they find another location with, but they end up in an apartment. Using a sensor, not a scanner, they managed to get some information. They managed to learn this is the apartment where the UFOs were hiding. And the owner of the apartment building gives them the card for the company that cleaned the place up after the UFOs were captured, Infinity Solutions. So, May and Otto go to check it out. As it turns out, that's where the UFOs are being held. Of course, they have to break in, but it seems to be, to many degrees, just, super prison. But they split up with May going after Vapor and Otto going out after X-ray. The idea being they need samples from both of them to potentially figure out what to do to help Peter. But Doc Ock takes down X-ray, gets the necessary sample. Aunt May talks a sample out of Vapor, saying, "Hey, look, my nephew Peter, he was near one of your attacks. He's real sick. No one knows his problem. I just need a sample to try and figure things out." And so it's like, okay, fine. Just don't tell anyone I did this. I got a rep to maintain. But Otto is decided to try and find out everything he can about Infinity Solutions, and well, that, however, is the final straw for May. She's done working and explains that she will not be seeing Otto again, which seems to be actually rather heartbreaking. But some time later, May gets a call from the hospital. The treatment was there was an anonymous delivery that had some comprehensive cache of data detailing the compounds involved in what's wrong with Peter. So they've got a treatment plan now. And May goes to see Peter, and he's awake and even able to sit up in bed. Elsewhere, though, Doc Ock is dealing with other Infinity Solutions sorts and types, or with other facilities of Infinity Solutions, and we learned that among the things he found out is who Infinity Solutions is a front for. The Beyond Corporation. Lending credence to a theory I posited with the Free Comic Book Day Beyond Prelude, that the Beyond Corporation is playing both sides on this. Apparently they put the UFOs in place, so maybe they did put Bushwhacker in place for that for Ben Reilly's trial run. But Otto has his eyes on something much more than just the secret of Infinite Solutions. Well, he wants to do the Beyond Corporation. And that is where the issue ends. A fun issue. I really did enjoy it, and knowing the full scope of the almost engagement between May and Otto, it's interesting that Otto seems to actually genuinely care for her, because the whole thing was initially just, there was something buried under the Aunt May's old house, and it was valuable. Otto knew about it, but he couldn't get to it unless he was, unless he had a reason to be there. And well, so marrying May seemed like a good idea. The plan was foiled, and yeah, but yeah, apparently he actually genuinely cares about her. So it's kind of neat. And it's clear. It's clear when she storms out on him, telling him that she won't see him. She won't be seeing him again. That he actually really does care. But anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Star Wars number 19. War of the Bounty Hunters has ended. And while, yes, Han Solo is now in the clutches of the vile gangster Jabba the Hutt, the rebellion has other things to worry about. So a meeting is called by Mon Mothma. There are various units that still need to be brought together so the full fleet can be so the full rebel fleet can attack as a single unit as opposed to just small strikes here and there. But Luke's just not really there. He feels like he really should be tracking down the leads on that list that R2 showed him. Elam turns out to be a non-starter. Of course, Jakku. That's it. Yeah, nothing there. Arashar, Lothal, the river moon of Aldolim, Mount Pasval, the ruins of Ambalar, which actually seems to be some place that works. He tries to pull the Jedi mind trick. He gets laughed at. But a mechanic finds him and informs him that he was saved by a Jedi, and they're what. And the Jedi gave said Jedi, well, his father, the Jedi in particular, his. Let's see, we get his name. Kyrak Infila. But yeah, saved this mechanic when he was young, and but the mechanic's parents continued to help with the upkeep of when he was in system of his Jedi Starfighter, and he sensed something, and so the Starfighter, he said, "Hey, take the Starfighter. I'll take care. I got other things to take care of." And so Kyrak and his sister were saved. And but their parents weren't. But it turns out that they're excavating. The Empire is excavating a mountain, and so, and Luke is taken to where everything is going, and he tries to how he's going to go about things. Lightsaber blazing, or consult the Force to come up with a better way. And so he simply walks in and tells the stormtrooper guards that they will bring him the most important artifact that is stored there. And so the trooper does. It's a holocron of Master Yoda. That is where the issue ends. Which brings us to our next book. Star Wars Crimson Reign, number 1. So, War of the Bounty Hunters was the first in a trilogy focusing on Crimson Dawn. Crimson Dawn stole Han Solo from Boba Fett and put him on auction. We would learn later with the intention of getting him back to the Alliance. However, things did not go as intended. And, well, Han ended up on the wall of Jabba the Hutt. However, we did learn that there were many agents of Crimson Dawn throughout the galaxy, in every organization you can think of. The Empire, the Alliance, Black Sun, the various other crime syndicates, everywhere. So it begins saying it's after the fall. A holocron pops up, being narrated by the archivist. She says that what follows is the story of a woman named Kira. But she brings together. We get a look at the organization involved with the involved. We got the Knights of Ren, Chanath Cha and the Orphans, Deathstick, Ochi of Bestoon, Margot and Trina, Kira's closest advisors within Crimson Dawn, and of course the archivist herself. But she tells those assembled about the history of Crimson Dawn and how it was formed by Darth Maul after he became a Sith apprentice. She learned much from him, but he eventually would die. Be reborn, and once again die. But she shows kind of how power should work. No one should have too much power. Ebbs and flows, so to speak. Under the Empire, though, it's all a pyramid. You've got the Emperor and everyone else. But it's explained that the plan is to make inroads with all the other syndicates, starting with Black Sun. Lady Kira goes to speak with Lord Gyuti, and it's kind of a hey, we're making this offer to everyone. If you need something, but if you need something, let us. That it would be best not traced back to you. Let us know, and we'll. And she also goes on to tell Gyuti that Boku the Hutt was one of theirs. Turns out, all the syndicates are getting this. Then over above Dantooine, Chanath Cha and the Orphans go after a Black Sun operation and take it down. Leaving no survivors and no witnesses. And so, Gyuti's of course amply pissed, and these attacks continue throughout on all the syndicates. No survivors, no witnesses. Which of course leads to exactly what you would expect. Something of a war among the criminal syndicates. Meanwhile, the Knights of Ren are planning for another job, breaking in to Fortress Vader. And we also get to see Deathstick without the lower part of her face covered. She appears to have some extensive cybernetics work, including on her face. It appears she has a cybernetics, at least her skull is likely cybernetic. We also see Ochi of Bestoon with the Sith Wayfinder that he has. Yes, the same Sith Wayfinder that we found on him on his corpse in Rise of Skywalker. But But yes, there were, of course, plans within plans. And as things started, Lady Kira was of the opinion that perhaps this entire thing could work. And that is where the issue ends. So, the events of Crimson Reign will be spilling over into the other Star Wars books. I don't actually think I'll be doing an event recap there. I think it's just going to be kind of, it's not. I don't think the relations are going to be the same as it was with War of the Bounty Hunters. War of the Bounty Hunters had a lot of, there were beats where you would see this. There were points where you would see the same event from multiple angles, kind of. With this, I think it's going to be just kind of, like the whole thing with the Knights of Ren going after Fortress Vader. Well, perhaps the reason that might end up being followed up on in Darth Vader, with no mention at all, with no going back to any of the other anything that happened with in Crimson Reign. So yeah, and maybe the events will be mentioned in a later issue. But yeah, anyway, on to our last book for the moment. We've got Magic the Gathering, number, I want to say 9. Downside of the variants, Yes, number 9. Where we'd left off, Merit Lodge was on her way to Ravnica, using Jace Beleren as a beacon, drawing her there. And Tezzeret explained that if you really want to stop her, you could kill Jace Beleren. So, in the present, our intrepid heroes, Vraska, Guildmaster of the Golgari, Kaya, Guildmaster of the Orzhov, and Ral Zarek, Guildmaster of the Izzet League, have met with other Guildmasters on Dominaria. The other Planeswalkers they're meeting with being Ajani Goldmane, Jaya Ballard, Chandra Nalar, Arlen Cord, Teferi, Angrath, Sahili Rai, Samut, Basri Ket, and Karn. But they have... We get some points of bringing together other Planeswalkers to discuss the whole thing. They're trying to figure out how best to deal with Merit Lodge, with Ajani making a suggestion that on paper sounds good until you really think it out. Why not have Merit Lodge crash into New Phyrexia? Let them destroy each other. But Karn makes an excellent point that while the in theory it sounds good. Maybe they could destroy one another. Or one could be destroyed, the other is severely weakened, and then the Gatewatch could swoop in and take care of the survivor. There's another possibility. The Phyrexians could corrupt Merit Lodge, making her even worse. So, bad idea, good intentions. But they have a better idea. A better idea comes up. Amonkhet. After the events of the Amonkhet block, it's desolate. All the survivors were taken by their last surviving god elsewhere. It was the red. It was the. But the idea becomes draw Merit Lodge there. However, how to keep her occupied? Basically, a psychic copy, a copy, so to speak, of Jace's mind, so that she stays occupied. Jace links his mind with the minds of Vraska, Kaya, and Ral, they decided to use their servant creatures, of their guilds, as a means of keeping Merit Lodge on Amonkhet. But they're going to need a necromancer. Thankfully, the one that Vraska was sent to kill, well, Vraska ended up not killing. None other than Professor Onyx herself, Liliana Vess. And so, it appears Merit Lodge is about to make... The issue ends with Merit Lodge seemingly about to make landfall on Amonkhet. I've really been loving this book. I really have been. Like as I mentioned before, I was kind of worried that every arc was going to largely just every arc was going to be kind of just going along and basically being a like 3-issue long advertisement for the new set, but it hasn't. There have been mentions of Innistrad. I think there were mentions of Kaldheim, but no one actually they weren't huge parts of the story. Instead, it's referring to things past, which, okay, alright. But anyway, that's it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off saying, live long and rock hard.